Have you ever tried to make something without actually measuring it out? I mean, not just like getting out the ruler measuring exactly, but even when we're sewing or something, we sometimes always measure something out to say, oh, I need it to be this big or something. You measure it at least a little bit. Have you ever tried doing it without doing any kind of measurement at all? I mean, you can't probably do that. You're just when you're sewing or when you're doing other things, you're probably automatically measuring without even subconsciously knowing it, right? You look at something and think that's going to be too big, and already you're measuring. So that's what's kind of cool about measuring is measuring tells us what we need to do. Measuring tells us what we need to adjust, if something needs to be bigger or smaller, or what needs to be about it to make it work right. Measuring helps us get things right, and measuring really helps us to achieve our goals. That's the whole point of this today. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the chat. Wherever it is that you're watching this, let me know. Email me. Whatnot. My name is Jacob Curtis. I am a CPA, founder of Curtis Accounting Solutions and the co-owner of Utah Valley Quilting. And we're talking about measuring today and why that's so important. Why is it important to measure different things? Because measuring tells us all kinds of things, right? It tells us how tall buildings are. If we didn't know how tall buildings were, we wouldn't know how tall, that we wouldn't know that the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. Nor would we have probably even been able to make something that tall, because if we weren't measuring how far things can go or how much weight could be on a steel beam or something like that, if we weren't measuring all of these different things, we would never be able to tell what it was. We probably wouldn't even be able to get that big, right? I would think the tallest we could probably get without measuring, would probably only be a couple feet, maybe a house size, maybe. But even then, that would be really difficult if we didn't know how and what to do to measure all of the things that we do. And so measuring really does help us understand how to make things. We measure when we're making cookies, for example. Last week, you got to measure out the ingredients. Now, you may be really good and can be able to eyeball things and say, oh yeah, that's about a cup, or that's about 6 inches, or that's about 3 pounds or whatnot. It doesn't really matter. You're still measuring. You just honed your skills to be able to just eyeball things and get it close enough, which is good in some cases, which is fine in others, right? And so that's what measuring is really what's important and key, both in your practical application of life when we're sewing, cooking, building, but it also is an important key when we're building a business and starting a business and growing a business. We need to be able to measure various aspects of our business. We need to measure our goals to see if we're actually progressing or if we need to make changes. And that's the big thing I want to press upon you today, is that measuring things helps us to move forward and progress and make changes in our business. I like to say, and you've probably heard this before, but what gets measured gets done, okay? You've probably heard the saying something similar to if you shoot for the stars, because or shoot for the moon, because if you don't, at least you'll land among the stars. The same kind of an idea, where you may not actually get to your goal, you may not be able to achieve the thing you want to get to, but as long as you're measuring your progress, you're always going to be able to get a step further and closer to where you want to go. And that's what's really important, is measuring actually forces us to look at our goals, what we're making, what we want to achieve, and say, am I getting towards that? What can I do to get there? And that's the hardest thing, right? Is you may be looking at thinking, yeah, I'm getting there, but have you actually written it down? I think one of the biggest things for me is to write down the goal, have that plastered, have a sticky note that always has my goals on them and what I am working towards, what I need to be working on. And then having an actual time where I sit down once a month and look through the actual factual numbers, not just what my gut is telling me, but what the numbers are telling me, how people are reacting, the referrals and the reviews and everything else that comes to me. I have tangible evidence for what I instinctually may think in my gut, right? And you may too. And so that's what I want to invite you to do today, is to really think about what your goals are. Think about what you need to get done, and then start measuring your progress towards that. That's one of the biggest, powerfulest, well, that's a big word, but that's one of the biggest things with Profit First, is Profit First isn't anything new or magical or spectacular. It's all it's really doing is helping you measure what you want to get done in life. It takes a spin on what we think or what we want in business and say, okay, I want to be able to have a big business, and so we focus on that sales. Profit First is just saying, well, hold on, you don't really care about the sales number. What you really care about is the profit, the bottom number, the bottom line, right? That formula, sales minus expenses equals profit. And so when we put profit first instead of sales first, all kinds of things start to happen in our business. And that's what's so powerful about Profit First. That's what's so powerful about measuring where we're going, what you want to accomplish, what you want to achieve. And Profit First is just a methodology for measuring your progress towards your end goal. And that's my biggest, that's what I want you to take away today is what gets measured gets done. What do you need to measure in your business, in your life, so you can progress forward, so you can achieve the goals and the things that you want to achieve? If you have any questions or comments, let me know. My name's Jacob Curtis. Again, you can find me on Facebook at Curtis Accounting Solutions, CurtisAccountingSolutions.com, YouTube, Curtis Accounting Solutions, Instagram, Curtis Accounting Solutions. I'm out there, Pinterest. Just if you have any more questions, contact me. Don't hesitate. My website is CurtisAccountingSolutions.com. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Thanks and have a great one. Bye.